back to another mini punch out. This is Brendan and I'm with Stefan. Hey, buddy, and we have another point of conversation for us to talk about things and stuff.
So just to yeah. So things have been pretty slow. So I have a question for you, my friend.
Yes.
So we're going to be starting our E3 episode very soon with our speculations, what we're most excited about, all that crap. But it's a little mini, since this is a mini bite, we're going to do a little mini topic on E3. A lot of people are wondering what Sony and Xbox are going to have in their conference. We all know what they're going to talk about for the most part, the big talking points at least. Sony's definitely going to talk about the, what is it again? I always forget it. Neo?
Neo, yeah.
PlayStation Neo, and obviously Xbox, Microsoft. A lot of people are suspecting they're going to talk about Scorpio. So we're going to have a bunch of new consoles to buy that aren't necessarily upgrades, like major step-ups, like PlayStation 5, Xbox 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever they want to call it. But we will have the 0.5s. This will be the season of 0.5s. So I guess the question I'm going to, or the discussion piece that I want to bring up is, do you think these are you excited for it, really?
No, I'm pretty angry that we're living in the day and age of the 0.5 kind of, how can I say this? I'm tired of the we need something new every 6 months mentality. It's not good. It really isn't. If it's not a game, like, I think that there's no need for all this new hardware, especially when a lot of people really can't afford it. You know, I don't think it's something that you should have to obviously do. And what ends up happening is that the people that are early adopters of things, you're gonna fuck them in the ass anyway. And a lot of the times too, with people that come to the party late, where, like, let's say somebody wants to buy Uncharted 4, right? They're really excited about Uncharted 4, and that's what they've only been waiting for that. And they buy this PlayStation, right? Now that they buy this new PlayStation, they have double play. They buy this new PlayStation, correct? And it goes, all right, maybe I'm gonna try a little bit more of these games. Oh wait, there's a newer PlayStation. What the fuck? Why did I buy this one? And I know it right now. I can see it from Sony's point of view, where they're gonna be like, oh no, you know, there's gonna be a version of a game for each console, and I'm like, well, that means that one of the versions of the games is gonna get short-ended, that or games are gonna take longer to come out, or maybe even they're gonna be less time devoted to them, and they're gonna look like shit. So because they have to develop 5 versions of the game now instead of 2. So I feel that I don't enjoy this. I just stick with one console, stick with it for 4 years, and give us another one.
You know what's funny?
There doesn't need it, or sell attachments. Look at the 64.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have the debacle that was the Genesis.
That's fine.
That had like the millions of different like upgrade cards.
The Mega Drive.
Honestly, a part of me, for the consumer level of things, yeah, it sucks for consumers. It really does. But for the PC master race in me, it's inevitable. I think the lines that divide the PC side of things versus the console side of things, I feel like that line is starting to get blurred and starting to slowly get broken down, where consoles are trying to catch up with PC and PC's trying to catch up with games on consoles. But now it's to the point where the technology is advancing to where a console doesn't come out with the same lasting power as they used to. Technology's advancement during, like, let's say the SNES Genesis era wasn't as rapid as it is now. Just look at the 1080 NVIDIA card that's coming out. I mean, it's going to be like, what, $400, $500. There are pre-orders already for it that are going in the thousands on eBay, which is kind of stupid, especially when you think about the fact that this is supposed to be the cheaper version, but it's the most powerful card we're going to be getting so far. Then you have advances with I always forget the name of it. It starts with a V. But anyway, the upgrade to OpenGL, and you also have DirectX 12, which is going to be bridging the gap in terms of programming and allowing developers to create games that could be more fluid, less system intensive, and be brought out on more platforms. Seeing these console companies trying to play catch up or trying to create consoles that can fit what developers are going to be moving towards more, I kind of appreciate. I kind of like. Yes, it sucks that we're going to have to buy 2 separate consoles. And the futurist in me really does want to see those consoles. You know, like I want to see the 0.5s. I want to see how they play. I want to see at E3. I want to see both companies reassure us, though, that there won't be the 2 different versions of games that you have to decide on because you decided to get the cheaper console rather than the more expensive one. And that you won't have to be like, but if I get this version, the DLC isn't going to be available yet until I get this version, or whatever the case may be.
Even look at it from a consumer standpoint, from a kid's perspective, where a kid's going to be like, oh, Ma, you're going to get me this from the store, but I need this version, not this one. And you're going to get a lot of... Kid's going to be excited, opening it up, and then it's going to be like, fuck you and your return policy.
Yeah, but those days are over, man. Like... No longer do we have to rely on the brick and mortars. Like,
that's true.
Nowadays, we could just send our mother the link on Amazon and they could buy it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what is interesting about gaming. And it's something that I've always... This is going to be kind of a tangent on my part, but there's something I find interesting with most things. Comic books, video games, even cartoons and movies. I think a lot of things are done in a very traditional sense. In the way that things used to be done, like the way periodicals used to be done, the way mom and pop brick and mortar stores used to be done. And then the internet came out, and then this came out, and then that came out, and rather than adapting to it, we've kind of tried to stick to those old traditions of things. I mean, just look at the way when Xbox came out, or when Xbox, or Microsoft, I should say, announced that, what was it they said? That, when they were trying to do the whole thing of, having you can't share your discs anymore with people. You pretty much would download them and that'll help with piracy and all this bullshit. And then Sony was like, well, this is how you share games on the PS4. And then they just showed the disc swap. That was all great and good at the time. Fast forward to the present, most people are actually downloading their games. Yeah. Most people are putting them on their hard drive. And those that are actually like, I'm a physical person. I'd rather have the disc. I'd rather have the collection that I can visibly see, is great and all. But when that game's no longer supported, or when that server is no longer supported, your disc becomes a coaster. And we're seeing the advantages of progress. And that's something I'm excited for. With these 0.5 consoles, I'm curious. I know it's sketchy, it's scary, but I'm curious to see just how much of a game changer
they really
these 0.5s
need to
are going to be in the future.
Stop doing same pricing for console games that are both sold in stores and digital.
Yeah, they do. That's
so fucking stupid. At this point, I understand you're not trying to burn bridges because you still need some of the brick and mortar to sell consoles, but at the same time, like, for fuck's sake, if Best Buy puts a game on sale $20 cheaper 2 weeks after and it's still $60 online, why am I going to purchase it from you guys directly? Like, I can go get the disc for $40.
Did you hear what happened with Battleborn? A lot of fans are pissed off because
they cut it down already for $20. But that, you can't blame Gearbox. You really can't. They have to compete. They
just came out with the game at the cheaper price.
But they had to compete against Overwatch, and they didn't expect.
Yeah, they could have competed with Overwatch before it came out, though, because they were coming out a very similar time frame.
But they got destroyed. That was the thing, though. They even with... Because the same time that Battleborn came out, Overwatch was released in beta. And it kind of went like, fuck you. People are like, why should I play this when I could just wait for this game?
Yeah.
Still play the beta and wait for it to come out and release. So it's not really their fault. You can't really do that. You can't blame them for that. It's just like when the way that 2K Sports started competing with EA. They started putting out their games for $20. And they did that for like 2 years before they finally stopped doing that. But that's that.
So here's the last little bit of this discussion piece.
Mm.
Will you, day one,
Yes.
buy yourself 0.5?
It depends. If I can, again, this all would have to go with the GameStop thing. If I can go to a GameStop and they'll go, we'll give you, let's say the new point systems are going to be like, what, 450, 500? So let's say if they say, we'll give you 200 for your system and we'll give you $100 trade-in credit, bonus credits. It's $300. I only have to pay 200, then yes. And you know, unfortunately, that's a bad thing. I wouldn't even mind if they did like a kind of like a reuse and recycle program where it's like, hey, you send us your old consoles, we could use the parts for the new system. We'll recycle your parts and we can make a new system. We'll send you a brand new system. We'll give you credit for it. Like that would be amazing, but I don't think game companies will do that.
Do you think they'll? You think they'll ever do the What game was it? I think it was it was either Battlefield or Call of Duty, where they had this thing where if you bought the Xbox One version, you got the Xbox 360 version or something
Call
like
of
that.
Duty. It's Call of Duty.
So Call of Duty. You think they'll do that with the 0.5 versions where it's like you just have to buy one copy and digitally download the other version?
I mean, Sony's really good at crossplay.
Mm-hmm.
You can cross-buy. You can really do. Sometimes you get Vita versions of games, and you'll get the PlayStation 4 version of the game, or PlayStation 3 version. When Journey came out, they gave you if you bought Journey on the PS3, you got it for free on the PS4 when they finally finished that version of the game. Mm-hmm. So it's really it shouldn't be hard to cross-buy. Like if Sony's been doing that for really good for the last couple of years, so I don't see why they'll stop doing that now. I guess they'll do it one purchase gets you all. The thing is, for a lot of smaller games, a lot of smaller companies, the big thing right now is indie games. Will some indie studios have the funds, time, resources to port or make two versions of a game when they can barely put one out? And they don't really put more versions of the game out until they get some money back for it. For example, like, look at Rocket League. Rocket League, PC, PlayStation 4. That's it. It exploded to now it's on Xbox. They're giving out free items. There's so much going for it. Super Meat Boy is another example where it was like it's only for the 360 PC. Slowly it came out for this. And same thing with Shovel Knight. We made it for PC, 3DS, Wii U version, console versions. There are a lot of games that don't go that way. There are tons of games that don't go that way. Look at just any early access game on Steam, where it's like, oh, hey, we invested so much time and money in this game, and we can have it barely run.
Did you? I know this is going on a little longer. No, that's actually, fine. It's not. We're within time. There's two things. One, so you know how the Xbox One, they're developing that whole new operating system for the Xbox One where it's going to be more with like Windows 10.
Yeah.
Windows 10 integration. There's a few people online, but there's one guy in particular who he's I'm sorry, I'm like stretching. That's really I apologize.
Weird.
Yeah. That he was able to install Windows 95 on his Xbox One.
Yeah, I've been seeing
which is pretty cool. And that the PS4, someone was able to install Steam on the PS4. I mean, they don't run anywhere near as good as people would like them to be, but just the fact that the options and the possibilities are there.
Look, honestly, we don't know what gaming's going to be in 5 years.
We don't. No. I mean, that's the whole point of the speculation.
And now with the talks of like cross-platforming becoming even a bigger topic. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save this whole theory that I have for the E3 episode. Okay. But it's along the lines of that. There's a whole spectrum to play with. You wanna really make people forget about like the 0.5 systems. You make cross-platform a day one thing, where it's like, all right, so we're gonna both companies are putting out their 0.5 systems on this date, right? One for the Xbox, one for the PlayStation. After you figure out what those two dates are, you come out with the main idea, which will be like, and then you guys, the things that you've all been waiting for. What?
No, I was just wondering what that noise was.
I was coming from over there. And the thing that you guys have been waiting for, Destiny 2 is coming out, right? Cross-platform for Destiny 2. Bam. Blah, everybody goes crazy. You do that.
Well, we'll see.
Where's your second point? You didn't have a second point? You said you had two things. Was it the Windows and the Steam thing?
Yeah, I think that was the second one.
All right. So, guys, what are your thoughts on this 0.5 systems?
Will you be buying one? Will you not want one? Do you think it's a bad idea?
What do you want in them? What do you want in them? So, as you can do, like always, comment below. Subscribe and like all our videos. Go back and watch previous mini episodes, the Punch Out Podcast, and watch all our other Let's Plays. And as always, folks, for Stefan, I am Brendan, and don't forget to punch back in.